The White House has confirmed that it knows Russia is developing a weapon to target satellites in space. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby says while the weapon is, quote, troubling, it would not be used to attack people or do any damage here on Earth. Kirby added the United States has known about the weapon for many months, if not years. This comes one day after House Intelligence Committee Chair Mike Turner publicly warned of a, quote, serious national security threat and encouraged President Biden to declassify related information. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe reports.
The White House confirms Russia's developing a way to destroy U.S. satellites circling the Earth.
Though Russia's pursuit of this particular capability is troubling, there is no immediate threat to anyone's safety. We are not talking about a weapon that can be used to attack human beings or cause physical destruction here on Earth.
Is it a nuclear weapon, a nuclear-powered weapon, or a nuclear-capable weapon?
I'm not going to be able to go into any more detail.
But National Security spokesman John Kirby said what Russia is doing would violate a 1967 treaty banning the deployment of nuclear weapons beyond the atmosphere. The weaponization of space is a favorite Hollywood plotline.
We're concerned the Soviets might be trying to introduce a new weapon.
But Samantha Vinograd, a former assistant secretary for counterterrorism, says we're not there yet.
It is more likely that Russia is involved in research and development to get to a certain capability. Russia demonstrating that kind of capability would put it ahead in terms of global arms race.
Biden administration officials briefed top House lawmakers behind closed doors today about the emerging threat.
They're going to remain in close contact with leaders of Congress on the issue, and it will be dealt with.
It was Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Turner who first revealed it.
We all came away with a very strong impression that the administration is taking this very seriously and that the administration has a plan in place.
And Ed joins us now from the White House. Ed, help me settle. There seems to be a disconnect in the sense of urgency over this threat, although that quote from Mike Turner in your piece there suggests maybe everybody's on the same page. Can you help us get the timelines right here? You had Turner sounding very urgent and then Kirby at the White House sounding like we've known about this for a while, it's under control.
Yeah, and that does seem to be the timeline, that this is something they've been tracking for a little while. We know there have been two of these Russian launches, one in late December and one just last week. And for whatever reason or however, they've received more information about it all, and that's what compelled them to go to Congress and begin the process of informing them. It was Turner then, by having the Intelligence Committee vote to publicly release word of this to the world, that caused this kerfuffle over the last 24 hours or so, ahead of a meeting they were supposed to have with the National Security Advisor today to go over what's going on here. In essence, there's nothing up there right now that's nuclear that could blow up either a satellite or something back here on Earth. But is Russia on its way to developing that and perhaps ahead of the United States and other superpowers? Yes, that's what it appears to be.
Shades of Sputnik a couple of generations ago. Now, a question about that, I guess this is really from that period. The fact that, as you mentioned in your piece, if Russia is developing some kind of weapon, that would be, they would be abandoning the Outer Space Treaty of 1967 that bans stationing of nuclear weapons in outer space. What are the, I mean, the implications seem pretty obvious, but what are the larger implications of that?
Well, for one thing, remember, Russia has been backing out of other nuclear disarmament agreements with the United States in recent years, and there's another one coming up for renewal soon that there's concern they may not agree to sign again. So in essence, yes, they would be pulling back from all these things. But little did you know, there was a 1967 treaty signed by 130 countries saying we're not going to send weapons of mass destruction into space. And it was at the height of the space race and of the Cold War, the first U.S.-Soviet treaty of its kind regarding weapons that was signed, and it's held at least this long. And it seems to be that they may be on the verge of violating it. And wasn't it cute that while John Kirby wouldn't say it's nuclear, he then later said in the briefing, well, whatever they're doing would violate that, which in essence confirms that, in fact, whatever it is, it does involve nuclear capabilities.
Sharp ears to pick that up. Well done, Ed. Thanks. Ed O'Keefe at the White House. Thank you, Ed.
Take care.